Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. This is Wind Waker Unflooded, a 3D modeling fan art project where we are bringing to life the Kingdom of Hyrule as you've never seen it before, within the world and art style of The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, corresponding to the islands of the Great Sea, figuring out if those islands really are the mountaintops of Hyrule, then what does the world look like beneath the waves? Of course, from a story perspective, this is all happening as a prologue to The Wind Waker. This is the world of Hyrule, canonically, right before the Great Flood. That is my intention with this project, and so welcome aboard. As using the 3D, the power of 3D modeling, I bring that world to life. That is my goal. And I'm trying to be as lore accurate as possible, but I do take liberties, and it is a creative project. I think the scope of the project necessitates that I fill in the gaps with my own ideas, or else they would be empty. And it's been exciting. It's been exciting just to think about the story and come up with my own ideas and talk to y'all and have a conversation about all right, I am adding to this map, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But so let's be creative and let's have some fun with it, and let's just really take this seriously and think about all right, this world of Hyrule right before the flood, what kind of world is it? It's a prosperous land, and perhaps its hubris is a part of its downfall. And, there's so many symbols for that. Let's up the technology a little bit. And something that can come with that, advanced technology is something like a theme park. Nothing too crazy, but it's been exciting to work on that. We've dubbed it Tingle Land, at least for now, since it'll be around where Tingle Island is in the future. And it's been fun to just kind of think about the potential rides. And this is an invitation as well, if there's any 3D modelers watching this. I'd love some help with this. This is kind of a big project within a big project, right? So if y'all have any ideas about Tingle Land, I'd love for y'all to reach out to me. I have my email that should be listed on the about page of this channel. If you don't see it, comment and reach out to me. I'd love to have you on board if you want to contribute to Tingle Land, because there are several big projects within this big project, right? I do kind of see it as there's different levels there. There is the world itself, which as a whole is a big project. But there's projects within the world, right? Hyrule Castletown is a big project within this project. And it's taken a lot of iteration and, it's taken time to try to figure out what it needs. It's taken work, experimentation. And Tingle Land, of course, will be a big project as well. Pulling all these assets together, figuring out the design of things, figuring out what it needs, what it doesn't need, iterating upon that. I think that is something that, I'm sure that y'all have noticed by watching these videos, is that this is iterative, and I'm okay with that. This is something where, there's times where I don't know exactly what the vision is, but I'm happy to figure it out along the way. There is a joy of creating in that. There's things I approach with a vision, there's things I approach with, oh yeah, I pretty much know what I want this to look like, and then I go model it. But a lot of the time, it's I don't know exactly what it's going to look like. So let's figure it out together, let's let you join me along the way as we create something and discover together what that something becomes. That's the creative process. And, it's something that changes, depending on if you're working with more of a team and you're giving work. Sometimes that needs to be a little bit more vision-focused, hey, this is what I think. Let's make sure we're all on the same page when you're collaborating with people. But just because usually I'm just kind of directing myself here, a lot of the project has been more freeform, and I've been more exploratory in the creative phase, and iterative, allowing things to change over time. And like y'all have seen with Castletown, that's something where I had one design and I completely reworked the design and still had to figure out where things go, and it took time to figure that out. And it shouldn't be easy to do a project of this scale. You shouldn't get it on your first try. When it's that big, it should take a little bit of coming back to, and, before you, land on something finally. It's a big enough project that I think it's okay to let it take that time. That's the process. That's the creative process. And I've enjoyed it, and there's more of it to come. So I hope that, I hope y'all enjoy it too. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit more about this Ferris wheel after the break, because I think it's about time for a short message. So everyone, young and old, all of you, step right up. I think it's time for a short message, so I'll talk to all of you again after the break. See you then.
If you want to be able to support me as a creator, there are several ways that you can make possible the creation of everything that I do. Become a Patreon member. I post all kinds of exclusive content that you can only see first on Patreon. Stuff like behind-the-scenes content for my filmmaking projects, whether that's in-progress scripts, storyboards, rough cuts, anything for my newest films that aren't posted anywhere else besides Patreon. So become a member. There's a whole range of prices, and you can support me even in small ways. That's super meaningful. Supporting me on Patreon too gets you in the credits list of any film that I release while you're a member. And like I said, even a little goes a long way. You can also collaborate with me now through Fiverr. I offer a range of services that could help bring your project to life. And if you've heard any music in the background of this video, that was my music. So feel free to look me up on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen to music. Type in Joe Kendrick. That's JoeKendrick. Look up Joe Kendrick on Spotify. Supporting me is super meaningful. I don't make any ad revenue on Wind Waker Unflooded. If you see an ad on the video, it's because YouTube is putting ads on their videos. I'm not making any ad revenue from this project. It's completely not monetized for me. So if you want to be able to support me as a creator, any way that you can do that means a lot, and it goes towards the creation of all that I do. So thank you to everyone who's supported me along the way.
And we're back. So yeah, I just want to talk a little bit about the design of the Ferris wheel, because like I said, this is an iterative project, and there's things I like about it. I like this main texture that it uses, but just like the shape of the carts, I might iterate on that. I might add some benches. I might like kind of make it a little bit more spherical, add a little something maybe at the bottom of the carts. I'm still kind of sitting on exactly what I want from it, but I am happy with the overall shape of the Ferris wheel, and I think it was a fun little thing to work on. It's just like like I remember, like, y'all didn't see this, but before I started recording, I was like, well, let me make sure that I know how to make a Ferris wheel, right? Like that I know how to make that work in 3D. Because of course it works differently in 3D software than it would work to build a Ferris wheel in real life, right? Like I could set the physics up so that so that things work, right? But it's like you have to cheat a little bit. And all it is just that, like, like the Ferris wheel as a whole is spinning, but then the carts are also spinning, and it just happens to look like they're staying still because they're parented to the Ferris wheel. But as long as they're spinning at the same speed that the Ferris wheel is spinning, it looks like they're not rotating. And that was something I just figured out off camera, that I was like, I just need to make sure I can do that works geometrically before I start modeling this. Because like, I was sure that I could figure out something, but that was just, it took a second to be like, wait a minute, like, can I figure that out? But it was doable. It's doable. And I guess, like, I've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed that this project has been a way for me to get to know Blender more, to get to know what's possible with it. And I guess, like, I really encourage that to anyone wanting to learn Blender or learn anything. Like, have a project to focus your learning, right? Because that's something that it'll also encourage you to go, like, learn new things that maybe you didn't expect to learn. Because suddenly you have a project, you're like, oh, well, just creatively, based on the needs of the project, it might be cool to have this or this or this. And then suddenly that pushes you to learn new things and to try new things. Just because creatively, suddenly there are more things that you're open to. And I've really enjoyed that. I've enjoyed that with all my films as well. They've pushed me to learn Blender, of course, in new ways. I do short films, if y'all don't know. I'm an indie filmmaker, and a lot of the time I do visual effects in my films. Not all of them are super visual effects heavy, but I've done like some sci-fi pieces, right? And that's something that's very CG dependent. And so I've learned, like, 3D modeling and 3D animation through that lens as well. Even though I still very much feel like a beginner, but I've had different projects to help guide my learning, and I think that that's what's made it possible. I definitely think, like, you can learn Blender, like, separate from a project, and maybe even, like, starting out with the software, it's good to, like, just do some tutorials and then figure out, like, a project to focus it all on. But I do recommend, like, having something to focus your learning. I think that's huge. And like, like, know your own ambitiousness. Like, know what you can accomplish. For me, Wind Waker Unflooded, like, it's fine to do it. I've talked about this before, but, like, I'm okay with doing it. It's such a big project, but it's not the only project I'm doing. I'm also doing smaller projects. So I do recommend pursuing smaller projects, stuff that you can get done, that you can show people. And I just finished a short film, completely separate of this, that, like, I was able to work on that and get that done. And so it's nice to have projects that I am completing, and I feel better about taking my time on Wind Waker Unflooded because of that. I'm not in a rush to get that done because I am getting other things done. So this is just a subtle way of hinting, like, if y'all haven't gone to my main channel yet, don't be afraid to go over there. Don't be afraid to like and subscribe. Don't be afraid to check out my short films. There will be links in the description, I'm sure. So I'd really appreciate that, and I just want to hype that up. And I just want to let y'all know what I'm working on. Because, I don't know, I don't presume to know why y'all watch this. I know that, we're tapping into something that's bigger than me as a creator. The Wind Waker, this desire to see the world of Hyrule from that time. That's something that's bigger than me. That's something people have dreamed about since before I started working on this project. It's not just about what I'm adding to it. But this channel is. This channel is about that desire through the lens of myself as an artist, through my creativity. And if you're interested in anything else I'm working on as an artist, then, I'd love for y'all to check out my short films. And if you're interested, if you like Zelda, you still might like something from what I add to my short films. I think, like, a lot of the soundtrack work I do is very much inspired by that kind of, like, classical orchestral, style of music. So if you like the music of The Legend of Zelda, I think you'll like the kind of stuff that I compose. And just the fantasy of it. I've done other kind of, like, sci-fi pieces, like I said, that, just get to stretch your imagination a little bit. So if you enjoy that stuff, then I just want to hype that up. I don't know, like, I don't want to spend too much time just plugging my own stuff, but I just want to make sure that y'all know that I'm communicating all that. Because that is, I think, worth saying. But anyway, let me know in the comments if you have any more ideas for Tingle Land. I've enjoyed making this Ferris wheel, but I guess I want to know what else, what else y'all think could go in a theme park in Hyrule. What other ideas you have? So feel free to comment down below. And leave any criticisms, as well. Any feedback that you have about the project. I'd love to know what y'all have to say, whether it's positive or negative. I just want y'all to be straight with me, I want y'all to be honest. So I say all this, I really mean it. And if you have suggestions, then, I take all those suggestions to heart, and that directly informs the kind of stuff that I work on next. So feel free to comment down below any suggestions that you have. That means a lot. And just thank you all for engaging with the project and, giving it attention anyway. It's always so meaningful to see y'all comment and to see how much y'all care about the ideas, and, just to be able to share this with y'all. So thank you all for being there. And without further ado, I'll let you go.